Oh, hello. Yes, it's time for class. You're just in time, don't worry. So, yes, sit down. I'll give you a minute. And let's get right into class, okay? Today, we're going to be learning about Sprigatito. Now, Sprigatito is a pure grass type Pokemon, as you can see, and it is known as, you will not believe it, it is known as the grass cat Pokemon. Pretty self-explanatory. Now, Sprigatito, as you might know, is one of the 3 Pokemon that trainers in the Paldea region tend to start their adventure with. The other 2 being Fuecoco and Quaxley. Now, Sprigatito's name actually comes from the words sprig and gatito. Now, a sprig is a small branch of, like a stem of a plant, and gatito means little cat in Spanish, which is the language spoken primarily in the Paldea region. So its name matches the fact that it is a small grass cat, and a very cute one as well. As you can see, Sprigatito has very soft and kind of pale green fur, and its little coat is actually said to be similar to the composition of plants, allowing Sprigatito to draw energy from the sunlight. Essentially, it can do a bit of photosynthesis, like a bunch of grass types. As you can see, it also has green ears, very big pink eyes, and of course a very, very fluffy tail. It also has 4 little paws. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the fun thing about these paws is that when Sprigatito rubs its little paws together, or just rubs anything really, he kind of rubs his paws together, it releases a very sweet and relaxing aroma, which is said to be a sort of therapeutic aroma that mesmerizes anyone near it. This can also be a good way to stop battles in a peaceful way, or just relax anyone in general. They can even spread this relaxing scent or aroma when Sprigatito moves around in its sleep. Scientists even suspect that Sprigatito releases its scent while it's sleeping in order to help itself and the Pokemon or people around it relax more easily and sleep better. Sleep better. Sleep better. Which I think is fantastic if you need a relaxing night. This scent will be even stronger when Sprigatito is basking in the sun. And now let me tell you something. Sprigatitos love basking in the sun, as they are able to perform photosynthesis, as I said. Just either like a plant or a good variety of other grass-type Pokemon that are also able to do photosynthesis. Sprigatitos also like to take really good care of themselves, and they have a bit of a habit of washing their face regularly so that the moisture in their fur stays intact and their face does not dry out. Sprigatitos are very sweet Pokemon, However, they tend to be very attention-seeking. And hey, don't let Sprigatito hear this, okay? But they can also be a little bit impulsive and unpredictable. And they can get a little bit annoyed if they are ignored. And also maybe a little bit jealous if you pay too much attention to another person or Pokemon. But yeah, don't let Sprigatito hear that. Oh no, nothing. I was just saying how great you are and how much you love caresses and attention, huh? So because they love attention so much, right? I have to keep paying attention to this one all the time. And keep caressing it all the time. And yes, if you want, after class, you can come pet Sprigatito. But it has to be after class, okay? Maybe if we even finish a little bit early, we can have some time for Sprigatito too. Okay, so let's continue the class. Now, do you know what Sprigatito evolves into? If you said Pikachu, you are so wrong, and you should probably revise a lot. Okay, a lot. Okay, come on. You're joking if you said Pikachu. Okay, let's be honest. But if you said Floragato, then you are correct. I'm gonna put a little picture. Floragato is Sprigatito's first evolution, and it is still just a grass type, and it is still known as the grass cat Pokemon. As you can see, Floragato is now able to stand on two legs, unlike Sprigatito here, and has more defined claws, again, unlike little paws here. However, it still maintains a lot of its features, like the green ears, the pink eyes, and the really fluffy tail. But we have to talk about two really interesting things about Floragato. The first one is its actual fur, and the second one is the pink bud that you see on it. Obviously, Sprigatito does not have a pink bud, but Floragato here does. So let's start off with the fur, okay? Now, Floragato's fur actually changes its hardness depending on Floragato's mood. This means that if Floragato is not in a good mood, its fur is going to be a little bit sharp. Floragato's fur has been compared to being sharp needles when it gets ready to battle. So in that sense, you can know how your Floragato is feeling by touching its fur. If it is a bit more sharp and rough, maybe Floragato is angry and upset about something. However, if its fur feels soft and gentle, it probably means that Floragato is in a good and happy mood. So, let's hope that if you get a Floragato, its fur always stays nice and soft at all times, which means you're taking really good care of it. So next up is its bud, okay? And you might think, that's just a bud, what is this? But this is the trick. There's actually a vine tucked inside of Floragato's fur. Think about it sort of like a yo-yo, with the bud being the yo-yo itself. Now this bud is very hard, and Floragato uses it to battle by throwing it. You can throw it at an opponent, you can wrap them around with the vine, or even use attacks with it. For example, if it uses a move such as Magical Leaf, Floragato will grab the bud on its chest and throw it, and the attack will come out of the bud, or just hold it in the hand and the attack will come out of the bud. I think that's kind of cool, Usually Pokemon use attacks out of their mouth, or I guess arms maybe, but I think from the bud is quite interesting as well. Now, as I said, it kind of functions like a yo-yo, so it can be thrown, wrapped, and as I said, it offers a lot of versatility to Floragato. Not only in battle, but in anything really. You need to grab something that's really up high. He'll just wrap that butt around and give it to you. As a fun little fact, actually, Floragatos often play with their butts in their sleep, which I think is really cute, you know. They're just playing with the little butt that they have. And lastly, remember how I said, okay, again, Sprigatitos are a little bit attention-seeking, yeah. Floragatos are just the same. They like to show off, and if they are ignored, they might misbehave and even pull pranks on whoever is not paying attention to it. Now, let's move on to Sprigatito's final evolution, which is called, I'll give you 5 seconds. Say it now if you know what it is. It's called Meowscarada. 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 Again, I'll put it right here. Sorry, Sprigatito is very needy today, constantly asking for caresses. Now, Meowscarada becomes a grass and dark type Pokemon now. And it is now known as the Magician Pokemon. It is no longer the Grass Cat Pokemon, it is now the Magician Pokemon. Which, by the way, I think is such a cool name. And we will get into why it gets that name in a second. But let's look at its biology first, okay? Now, as you can see, it has grown a lot of fur on its face, resembling a mask. And there is a pinkish collar around its neck that kind of looks like flower petals. And from this collar, a sort of dark green cape emerges from behind Meowscarada. Now, let's also look at the Donphan in the room. The flower, okay, this is where Meowscarada gets called a magician. So, the two things to note. First of all, the flower is not actually floating. And second, the flower may be a bomb. Yes, what? I know. Let me explain, okay? One step at a time. First, the flower is not floating. What? Clearly it's floating. It's not floating. You see, it basically works like Floragatos, but Meowscarada has a vine attached to this flower. However, this vine is covered in a reflective fur, and it is also very, very thin, making it basically invisible, and that's what gives it the impression that the flower is floating. This is also super useful to create illusions and also to wrap opponents, since they basically cannot see the vine wrapping around them until they feel themselves be bound by it. Now, let's go on to the bomb part. What? I know. Now, the flower itself blossoms into a flower bomb, which is filled with pollen. Meowscarada is very skilled in misdirection and will place multiple bomb flowers on the field and is able to set them off before its opponent even realizes what is going on, catching them completely off guard. I know, pretty crazy. And this is actually Meowscarada's signature move. It's called Flower Trick. Pretty self-explanatory as well. It is a move that never misses, and in theory will always result in a critical hit, since the opponent is never going to be ready for it. You know, it's a trick, it's an illusion, it's magic. It sounds so crazy, but I think it's such a fitting move for a magician Pokemon like Meowscarada, which uses the only thing that, not the only thing, but the one thing that Meowscarada is unique for, which is its flower. No other Pokemon has a flower like this with a vine like this that can do something like this. And before we look at its other moves and abilities, I just wanted to let you know that Meowscaradas are also very proud and sort of flashy Pokemon, like a magician, you know, they want to show off their tricks. However, they are still quite jealous and attention-seeking as all of its evolutions are. This one too. And as a last little fun fact, Meowscaradas actually will try to perform magic in their sleep as well, which I think is really cool to see how much it enjoys magic tricks. But apparently their performances in their sleep might not always go to plan, and they might make a bit of a mess sometimes. Now, let's move on to its moves and abilities. I know we already covered its signature move, Flower Trick, which, by the way, Meowscarada learns upon evolving, but it also learns a lot of different moves. So, let's look at them. But before we do, I want to look at a move that Sprigatito, Floragato, and Meowscarada do not learn. They do not learn this move, okay? And that move is Sweet Scent. Yeah, so Sprigatito's Pokédex entry literally says, and I quote, "The sweet scent its body gives out mesmerizes those around it." The sweet scent its body gives out mesmerizes those around it. But this Pokemon cannot learn the move Sweet Scent. I think Pokemon are magnificent creatures. Honestly, they're so interesting. They surprise me on the daily. Anyways, I just had to mention that. I thought it was really funny. What Meowscarada does learn, however, are a strong list of Pokemon moves in a variety of types. Such as, I'm just going to go through a bunch of examples here. Grass type moves like Energy Ball and Leaf Storm. Dark type moves such as Night Slash. Normal moves such as Slash. Yes, I know. It can do both a regular slash and a night slash. Very different. A bug type move in U-turn, and even a fairy type move in Play Rough. And also when we look at TMs, there are so many other moves from so many other types, such as, I'm just going to give one example for each type, just so you get an idea. Okay, Thunder Punch, which is electric type move, Aura Sphere, which is fighting, Acrobatics, which is flying, Shadow Claw, which is ghost, Mud Slap, which is ground, Triple Axle, which is ice, Chilling Water, which is, well, water, Power Gem, which is rock, and a bunch of really other cool sort of magic-y moves, such as Trick Room, Skill Swap, Spikes, Toxic Spikes, and so on. A lot of like magic-y, magician-y moves. Anyways, that's enough for the moves for now. Let's now look at its abilities, and then we'll be done a little bit early, so you can leave class, or you can stay behind and pet Sprigatito a little bit, I'm sure. Sprigatito will love it. It has two abilities, those being Overgrow and Protein. Overgrow makes it so that the Pokemon, if the Pokemon is on low health, its grass type moves will do more damage. Just remember that this is specifically for grass type moves though. So if Sprigatito was to be on low health, its grass type moves, but only its grass type moves, would do more damage. Protein, on the other hand, is its hidden ability, and it makes it so that if a Pokemon uses a move, that Pokemon will become the type of the move that it is using before it attacks. Let me give you an example. If Sprigatito or Meowscarada has Protein, and it uses, let's just say, Thunder Punch, Meowscarada will now become just an electric type Pokemon. No grass, no dark, just electric. However, this ability only works on the first move that the Pokemon uses until it is switched out. So if it uses Thunder Punch to become an electric, until it switches out, no matter what Meowscarada does, what moves it uses, Meowscarada will remain an electric type Pokemon in this specific example. Anyways, I hope that made all sense. I hope it was all good. And I think that's perfect time to finish the lesson today. As a quick sort of takeaway, I guess. Remember that no matter how much older or bigger you get, don't forget to get the attention you deserve. Just like Sprigatito here, who is always asking for more attention, and that will not change once it evolves. And anyways, with that being said, you can come pet Sprigatito now if you want. Go Sprigatito.